Good morning, class. How is everyone today? I'm glad to hear that. Do we have absentees for today's discussion, class secretary? Alright, I'm glad to hear that no one is absent for our today's discussion. Now let me have your assignment. Please pass it sideward and then forward. Thank you so much. I have now here your assignments. But before we proceed to our today's discussion, we're going to have a short review. And for our short review, we're going to have an activity, of course, your favorite. So our activity will be like this. I'm going to ask you a question that is related to our previous discussion, and I'm going to choose one who is going to answer that question. But of course, with a twist, we're going to use this spinner to determine whether you are the one to answer the question. Isn't that exciting? Isn't that frightening, class? Oh, for sure you are so excited to answer the questions, and I know you have reviewed and you have learned a lot from our previous discussions. So, without further ado, we will begin the first question. First question is, it is the geological epoch 34 to 24 million years ago, during which the definite anthropoids emerged. So for the first one to answer this question, let us have the spinner. Okay, what's your answer? That's right. Now we're going to proceed to the next question. It is a small monkey-like Oligocene primates found in an area in Egypt. What do you think is the answer? Of course, we're going to select a student who will answer the question. Spinner. Okay. Miss April, you're the one selected. What's your answer? Okay, that's right. Next question. Aside southwest of Cairo, Egypt, where the world's best record of Oligocene primates fossil has been found. To answer this question, okay. The spinner has spoken. You're right. Next, an ape-like anthropoids dating from early Oligocene. What's the answer? Okay. Miss Tayo, please answer. You're the one being selected by the spinner. Oh, you're right. That's good. For the last question, an Oligocene anthropoids and probably the best known Proplypitids. What's the answer? Of course, using a spinner. Okay, what's your answer? Oh, that's right. I'm glad that you have still on your minds our previous discussion, and I'm sure you are ready for our today's discussion. Before we proceed to our discussion, we will have another activity, and this activity is entitled The Missing Piece. So for this activity, the procedure are the following. First, there will be 5 groups, and each of the group will be given a picture which is cut into pieces, and you're going to arrange those pictures. And you will be given, of course, 3 minutes to do that. And after 3 minutes, one of your group representative will come here in front, and then he or she is going to answer the questions that is needed to be answered. So are you ready? Are you excited? I'm excited. So you are. So your 3 minutes starts now. Your 3 minutes is up, and it's now time for you to share those missing pieces. For the first one, may I call on the Group 1's representative. A round of applause for Group 1. Next, Group 2. Another round of applause for Group 2. How about the Group 3? Very good, Group 3. A round of applause, please. Group 4, it's your time. Thank you so much, Group 4. Last but not the least is Group 5. Very good, also Group 5. Congratulations, class! You did well in our activity. But before we proceed to our formal discussion, we will have first unlock the words that you're going to encounter as we go on into our lesson. So I'm going to flash the words that you're going to encounter as we go on to our lessons, and then we're going to know their meanings so that when we are in the lesson, it is not hard for you to distinguish the meaning of those words, and it will be easier for you as we go on and as we dig deep to our topic. So are you ready? Here are the words that you're going to encounter. Words epoch, primate, proconsul, Miocene, and hominoids are the words that we are going to encounter as we go on into our today's lesson. So without further ado, it is now the most important part of this discussion, and we're going to proceed into our lesson. For our today's discussion, we are going to talk about the emergence of the hominoids during the Miocene period. And with the help of the video presentation that I have prepared with you, you're going to learn a lot about the life on how these hominoids emerge. And get ready, because after this short video presentation, you're going to create your own graphic organizer that, of course, is related to what you have watched and what I have prepared for you. So if you are ready, please prepare your papers so that you could list down all the necessary information that you need, and we will begin right now. So just sit back, relax, listen, and of course enjoy watching the video presentation. Hello everyone, I am here at the Discovery Museum. And for today, we are going to explore how did the hominoids emerge. Are you ready? Let's go inside. The first one is the early Miocene proto-apes. Most of the fossils from the early Miocene are described as proto-apes. And they are mostly found in the continent of Africa. And the best known genus of this is the proconsul. Oh, a light bulb. It's time for discovery.
Early Miocene proto-apes. The best known genus is Proconsul, found in sites in Kenya and Uganda that are about 20 million years ago. All of the various Proconsul species that have been found were much bigger than any of the anthropoids of the Oligocene, ranging from about the size of a gibbon to that of a female gorilla. They lack a tail. That lack of tail is one of the most definitive features of hominoids. Proconsul was primarily an arboreal quadruped, Some of the larger forms may have sometimes moved on the ground. Judging by teeth, most proconsul species appear to have been fruit eaters, but larger species may have also consumed leaves.
We are done in the early Miocene proto-apes, and I know you have learned a lot from that period. And now we are in the middle Miocene apes. Whereas during this period, it is when the first definite ape-like finds were discovered. And now we are going to explore more than that with the help of this light bulb, because we are going to discover more and more.
Middle Miocene apes. The oldest, dating to about 13 million years ago, is Pierolapithecus and was recently found near Barcelona, Spain. Another hominoid, Kenyapithecus, was found on Maboko Island and nearby locations in Kenya. Both Pierolapithecus and Kenyapithecus have many of the proconsul's features but have teeth and faces that resemble those of more modern hominoids. And in contrast to proconsul, Kenyapithecus was probably more terrestrial. It also had very thickly enameled teeth and robust jaws, suggesting a diet of hard, tough food or possibly a great deal of grit in the food, because Kenyapithecus live mostly on the ground. Whether Kenyapithecus is ancestral to the later apes and humans is something of a puzzle, because its limbs do not show the capacity for brachiation that is a characteristic of all the later apes. Pierolapithecus, however, has wrists and vertebrae that would have made it capable for brachiation, but also has relatively short fingers, like modern monkeys. Pierolapithecus probably spent most of its time in trees, walking along larger branches as monkeys do, and also brachiating among smaller branches as apes do. Thus, Pierolapithecus is a good candidate for the ancestor of later forest-dwelling apes.
There are a lot to discover in the Middle Miocene period, specifically the Middle Miocene apes. But we are not yet done, because there are a lot to discover into this new one, the Late Miocene apes. During the Late Miocene period into the Late Miocene one, the apes diversified and they move into different places. But it doesn't mean that apes are more numerous than the monkeys. In fact, in the old world, the monkeys become more numerous and numerous than the monkeys, and it become a trend even after this day. To feed you more about the Late Miocene period, here is again our bonus, the light bulb.
Late Miocene apes. One well-known late Miocene ape from Europe is Oreopithecus, which dates back from about 8 million years ago. It is particularly interesting because, despite being well represented by fossils, including nearly complete ones preserved in beds of hard coal, its classification is enigmatic. Oreopithecus was clearly adapted to life in thickly forested marshland. It had extremely long arms and hands and mobile joints, and was likely an agile brachiator. Its dentition suggests it had a diet that consisted mostly of leaves. However, the dentition and skull of Oreopithecus had also a number of unique features that suggest affinity to some Old World monkeys. In short, Oreopithecus had an ape-like body and a monkey-like head. Most paleoanthropologists divide the later Miocene apes into at least two main groups: the Cebophyticids, represented primarily by the genus Cebophyticus and found primarily in Western and Southern Asia, and the Dryopithecids, represented primarily by the genus Dryopithecus and found primarily in Europe. Cephaphyticids, which dates back from roughly 13 million to 8 million years ago, was thought to be ancestral to hominins. It had flat and thickly enameled molars, smaller canines, and less sexual dimorphism than other Miocene apes, and had a parabolic dental arcade in some reconstruction that all hominins features, now considered faulty. It also lived in a mixed woodland grassland environment. However, as more fossil material was uncovered, scholars recognized that Cephaphyticus was remarkably similar to the modern orangutan in the face, and is now thought to be the ancestral to the orangutan. Dryopithecus, which appears about 15 million years ago, was a chimpanzee-sized ape that lived in the forests of Eurasia. It was mainly arboreal and apparently omnivorous. Dryopithecus had thinner-toothed enamel than Cephaphyticus, lighter jaws, and pointed molar cups. In the palate, jaw, and midface, Dryopithecus looked like the African apes and humans. In contrast to later hominoids, however, Dryopithecus had a very short face and a relatively small brow ridge.
I am sure you learned a lot for today on how did the hominoids emerge from the early Miocene period, the early Miocene proto-apes, from the middle Miocene period, the middle Miocene apes, and from the late Miocene period is the late Miocene apes. See you again next time. Good luck for your study. Okay class, after watching the video, it's now time for you to do your graphic organizer. You'll be given 5 minutes and your time starts now. you did a great job. Your graphic organizers are well presented and anchored on our today's discussion. And I want to congratulate each one of you for doing a great job. Congratulations and celebration. You did well on our today's discussion. Congratulations, congratulations. Congratulations, class. You did well. You presented your graphic organizer properly and anchored on our today's discussion. So at this point, I'm going to have the word hominoids. Of course, for your application, we're going to have the word hominoids. For you not to forget the meaning and our today's discussion, I have here the word hominoids. And each one of the letters from the word hominoids, I have prepared words that we can associate with the word hominoid so that you can not forget them as we move on to our next discussion. Part of this activity, you fix the broken pieces by having the parts of it connected together for you to understand the whole picture. And I just want you to know that it has something, a connection, a realization in our today's topic for us to understand and answer the questions when it comes to the emergence of the early monkeys, of the apes, the emergence of the hominoids. We have to link those broken pieces, those evidences, the fossils that they have in order for us to understand not just their emergence, but of course the whole picture of the story. I hope you have learned something and you have that realization. You are able to connect our today's lesson to our activities, to the activities that we have done, and you will be able to understand how did the early hominoids emerge. Thank you so much for your utmost participation, class. Thank you, and I hope you learned a lot. For your assignment, in a whole sheet of paper, write an essay with a minimum of 500 words by differentiating hominoids from the early anthropoids. Thank you so much, everyone, and see you again tomorrow. God bless you all.